Hi everyone. We keep on talking about innovation with very special guests in Festival Nova Clubinho em Casa. We will now listen to the Administrative Director of IXL Innovation, Professor Hitendra Patel, and also the Executive Director, Fernando Onosaki. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning. This is Hitendra Patel. I am the Managing Director of the IXL Center, and I'm going to be talking about the Innovation Olympics today, along with Fernando Onosaki.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fernando Onosaki, the principal here in Brazil for IXL Center. Nice having you, Patel. So today we're gonna talk about how making innovation real using open innovation. And as the first question, so Patel, what is open innovation?
So that's the question that's been asked probably for the whole last couple of days at this big event. Open innovation is an idea that you should be partnering with people outside of your organization. And simply stated, for too long, most organizations have been going at it alone. And when they go at it alone, do things on their own, they need to do everything by themselves. They need to learn new things. They end up making more mistakes, and they need to also buy a lot of equipment. And so there's a lot of risk. It's slow, and you end up spending too much money. And so what open innovation is supposed to do is liberate all this. And the way it works is essentially, it gives confidence because you can work with people from the outside. You get support from others to do what you want to do. And you can also go faster. You can reduce risk and lower cost. The big idea over here is, if you think you have the smartest people in your organization, if you believe you have all the assets in your organization, you're probably wrong, because there are 7 billion people on this planet, and there are thousands of companies and thousands of smart people out there who could probably help you. And the idea is, why can't we work together? If we are able to do that, then you're actually able to benefit in many, many ways. And this is called the use of the innovation ecosystem, where whether you use the open innovation with companies, universities, startups, governments, financial institutes, accelerators, collaborations, Fernando. And what you get out of this thing is just simple, and you can get intelligence, insights, ideas, where your next strategic growth is going to come from. It could be patents, prototypes and products. It could be talents, new talent that you need, assets and technologies, and ultimately new projects, new programs and partnerships. If you can actually tap into this thing, you are going to be able to go. And this is the real benefit of open innovation, Fernando, is you can do bigger things because you can access more resources. You can do bolder things because you can access more insights. You can do better things because better solutions for your customers compared to competitors. You can go faster because a stronger alignment of the whole stakeholders across the value chain. And you can do things cheaper because you can de-risk things and you use low-cost approaches. And so it's a no-brainer. Open innovation should be used by everybody. That's what we're learning.
That's excellent. Thank you, Dr. Patel. And nowadays, what IXL has been doing across the subject of open innovation. So what's the IXL Open Innovation Program?
So we have a very exciting program. It's a strategic growth program that we put together, which has its genesis in Monitor Group and Arthur D. Little. We used to do consulting and help big CEOs and big corporations who were worried about where the next growth was going to come from. And they were worried about what that pipeline needs to be able to continue driving strategic growth for the business. And in the past, we'd be giving like one team to do this sort of work. And we have this thing called Open Innovation, IXL Innovation Olympics, where we now, on demand, whenever this question shows up, we're able to give you 5 teams to find your blue ocean and your innovation pipeline. And guess what? Because it's open innovation, it's actually 5 times cheaper, it's 5 times better, and actually it's even 5 times faster. The program has been used across the globe and also in Brazil. We're working for the biggest companies on the planet. Airbus has used this to figure out what the future of passenger jets are supposed to be. IBM has used it to understand where the accessibility of people who are aging and handicapped for digital technologies. LG used it to figure out how to make an investment on its next big LCD factories. And Hyundai actually used it to figure out what was the future of the interior of a car associated to its brand. And similarly, in Brazil, companies like Klabin, Braskem, Natura, and JBS have also used it to identify where the next growth is going to come from, whether driven by technology or driven by the market or driven by competitors. It doesn't matter. This program has been used effectively very well. And these companies have been actually benefiting from this open innovation program because of the fact that it is bigger, it delivers bigger, better, faster, and cheaper results. The way this program actually works, Fernando, is very simple. You, the CEO, will get, or a senior executive will get 5 big growth ideas for what you have to do in the future. And the way it works is we give you 5 teams from anywhere in the world, just specific to the question that you have. 5 teams which compete with each other to try and figure out what the solution is. And so you sit in the middle asking that question, you know, what is my next issue? And this is not so different than any other company. Everybody has the same question. Where is your next strategic growth going to come from? And we provide 5 teams to solve the problems. Over the last many years, hundreds of companies have participated in this program, and we have been able to deliver results of probably over $5 billion, if not greater, which is quite a meaningful impact. If you were to just break it down simply, if you're the company who's got the question of where my growth is coming from, the program very simply can be broken down into three key elements. First, you get 5 teams. And these teams can come from any geographic area, functional skills, cultural backgrounds, industry expertise, genders, and they're really diverse. Diversity is the name of the game. And these teams actually go towards where the problems are. Number 2, they use a proven methodology. Proven methodology that's been used over the last 30 years at Arthur D. Little, at the Monitor Group, and since then by hundreds and hundreds of companies and probably thousands of teams. This approach is disciplined, which basically means that it's not open-ended. It starts with a very clear definition of what the problem is, and in 8 to 10 weeks, you'll get your solutions. The program has 2 sets of divergence, and then clients are able to converge them into the solution. So that discipline comes from not only a very clear project plan, but also you, the clients, who are able to drive the steering committee what's important for you. And that therein is the IXL Innovation Olympics. It's a flagship program of IXL Center. And we've been basically asked every single year by clients to continue delivering this program. And clients who use this program basically come back every year saying, can we do it again? Can we do it again? Can we do it again?
That's perfect. Thank you, Dr. Patel. So, and how does the Innovation Olympics work? I mean, what's the process? What's the process? What's the journey that the teams run and the companies experiment during this Innovation Olympics program?
No, that's a great question, and it's called the secret sauce, but it's not really a secret sauce. It comes down to discipline ultimately, but the methodology used, Fernando, is very straightforward. As we said, it's been proven on hundreds of companies by Arthur D. Little, Monitor Group, the IXL Center. It's endorsed by the Global Innovation Management Institute, and it integrates Blue Ocean. It integrates disruptive innovation, lean startup, design thinking, agile. Every single methodology that we know out there is integrated into this particular approach. The approach starts very simply with first us working closely with the client team just to make sure we understand what the key question is. In any open innovation program, rule number 1 is you need to know what you're asking for. If you don't ask the right question, then you'll get a whole bunch of answers, but the answers may not be to what you really need. So setting that up with the right question is really important. And then in between, the teams work, the 5 teams work with each other, competing with each other to come to answers. And ultimately, there's a recommendation workshop that we do with the client. Let me just show you visually how that looks, because I think visually it might be much more fun, right? So the first thing is it's defining the key challenge question. We sit with the executives and we discuss, we run a workshop with them, And out of that comes, why do you need to innovate? A case for change. What is the growth gap? Because you got to give innovation a reason, and how big is the problem? By when should we solve it? And ultimately, we ask, what kind of investment will you make? So we set up the stage right up front. That don't waste your time in this program if you're not ready to answer these first 3 questions. And once we get those questions answered, there's significant alignment in the organization with the senior executives, the funding and everything else saying, we have a problem, we need a solution, and when we get a solution, we'll fund it. The next part of this thing is, of course, what we call the innovation intent. This is where you, the executives of the company, would tell the 5 teams, this is our challenge, here's our expectations. You must demand excellence out of the teams, and it's a competition. And the more you demand excellence, the more they will deliver excellence. And then, of course, you want to communicate that you will invest on these ideas. This is not a mental exercise. This is not just for the purpose of doing some market research. It is about business and business growth. And if we get good ideas, we're going to put all the money necessary to make it happen. The teams, 5 teams, go out there and they do primary and secondary research, just like any consulting firm would. And they really go deep in terms of Google and every secondary report, but they do primary research. Primary is interviews, talking to people and our customers, competitors, and everything else. They create a business opportunity map, of all the opportunities that you could possibly pursue. And it's based on trends, and they extract insights at this point, which can be quite amazing, because you begin to see that here's your company and here's your industry, and beyond your industry, all the opportunities that you could go after. What those teams then do is identify big opportunity areas for you to invest in. And these are called fields of play, or some people might call them blue oceans. Somebody might call them growth engines. Some of them may even call them platforms. We call them fields of play. What's your new field of play? Where do you want to play next? Where to play? How to win? Where do you want to play next? And so we identify new opportunity areas. We rank the new fields of play for you, and you refine selected new fields of play. And that's the beginning of the journey. The great companies do not make a bet on a silver bullet. The great companies do not make a bet on a single idea. They make a bet on an opportunity area that they say we are going to own. It's your blue ocean. And that blue ocean, if anybody else enters, it's a Red Sea for them, but it's a blue ocean for you, because you are best organized to be able to capture it. Once you select that field of play, then the teams begin to work on business concepts. And there's some new ideas within that field of play that you've selected. And there'll be about 5 business concepts selected for each field of play. Remember, you got 5 teams. So you got 5 fields of play you're pursuing. And on each field of play, you got 5 concepts, right? And this begins to be your pipeline of concepts that you want to go out with. As this concept are developed, it brings to life the field of play. It allows you to visualize it. And now you can begin to share it with other people in your company. Because most people cannot actually visualize the future, and let alone visualize in the future what that blue ocean is going to be, and visualize in the blue ocean what this actually pipeline of concepts are. By what these teams do now, they begin to make it real for you. Finally, they do business cases. These are kind of mini business cases to basically give you confidence that these ideas that they've come up with are meaningful, they are large, and if executed, you should be able to close your business growth gap. And so they flesh them out, and they provide presentations to you. And these are like about 20-minute presentations for each team, giving you a lot of chance to ask all the questions that you might need to do. 8-week journey. In this 8 weeks, you have 3 chances for them to be steered correctly into what you guys think you will invest in. And then what we do as IXL Center is we take all that information, and then we again open it up and then recombine it to give you strategic choices for your company of what you want to do next. And that's called a recommendation workshop. And that recommendation workshop is all about decisions that you must make. Because if you don't make those decisions, you're in the same place as you were 12 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, and you are basically not going to be able to capture the future that you need to do. Our job is to give you choices informed decisions is what you have to do. They're informed because we provide you the data. And that data will allow you to move forward with confidence. And that's the open innovation program that we run. It's called the IXL Innovation Olympics. And it's probably one of the pride and joys of my career, at the fact that we have made so much impact globally with so many companies.
To be very nice and structured. And what kind of results have been captured, have been delivered through this Innovation Olympics program?
You know, that's a hard question for us to answer in a simple way, because we have done this with over 200 organizations. And in some organizations, they might have had a new technology that they had uncovered, and they wanted to go to the world and say, what can we do with this technology? So this technology push, trying to find a market for it. In other cases, there were companies who were basically saying, hey, what are the next blue oceans and new markets we need to enter into as we see the future of beverages, or the future of cars, or the future of electricity. And they would ask us for the next blue oceans before they actually emerged. In some cases, they were very specific, saying we want geographic expansion from one geography to another geography. We want to be able to enter the Chinese market, and how should we enter the Chinese market? And so the answers are varied. But what I would like to say is, each of these companies who participated, they will all live and die by this program, because what they got was 5 sets of solutions. And of those 5 sets of solutions, one might have been bad, but one was often a home run, and 2 were things that they knew they should be doing. And now they were prompted to do it, because how could these teams in 8 weeks come up with suggestions that the companies needed to do? So it was a very powerful thing. We saw CFOs having programs run for themselves, so they could have in the back pocket logic that they could use and ideas they could use to argue with the head of strategy what they should do next. We had CEOs who said, look, I'm going to do this program 4 times a year, and I've got 4 business units, and each business unit can never again claim that they don't have strategic growth ideas, because now he could assign them to this program. So the main idea over here, main point over here is, first of all, the world is not lacking ideas, but what they're lacking is structured ideas that management, executives can make decisions on. What this program is, it's not an crowdsourcing, it's not an open innovation, random type of program. It's a very disciplined and structured program for senior executives to be able to make decisions about what they have to do next. It is, to a large extent, a summary of what management consulting used to be, but it's a disruption. It's a disruptor of management consulting, because we are able to do 5 teams instead of 1 team. We're able to do it for 1/5 the cost instead of the cost of McKinsey or BCG. And we can do it at least 1/5 or 5 times faster than what other organizations can do. And it is that what causes the disruption. And we are the innovation in the innovation in terms of what we're doing. Clients like IBM, Shark Ninja, Natura say great things about the program. And if you ever talk to them, you'll be quite impressed by how happy they are. So Fernando, that's the IXL Innovation Olympics in a nutshell. Brazilian companies have actually led in terms of using this program quite a bit, and Klabin's one of them, of course, but there are many Brazilian companies who participated also.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Patel. As a final question, this program is applicable to what kind of companies? It's applicable to any kind of industry or size of different companies?
Yeah, first of all, in terms of industry, it really is industry agnostic. It is because the methodology, it looks at trends, it looks at opportunities to competitors and insights, and it doesn't matter what industry you're doing. So it's not an industry issue. From a size perspective, what we find is companies which are maybe about $100 million or larger are better suited for this kind of programs, because they are the ones who have actually maxed out their current growth in their current strategy. And it is when a strategy begins to run out of growth that it looks for new strategic growth areas. And this program identifies strategic growth. Where is your next growth going to come from? And if you go to any CEO, any senior executive, any head of strategy, not one of them will say confidently, I know where my next growth is going to come from. And therefore, it's just insurance. Who wouldn't want to have a program like this to have in their back pocket strategic options for what to do next?
Thank you. As a final and closing question, we talk about diversity, we talk about the structure, methodology. In your opinion, what does it make this program so unique, so different?
So the first thing is when you have 5 teams working in parallel, those teams themselves bring diversity, and having teams from different geographies or different locations bring an additional diversity. And as a result, the amount of intelligence and insight sourced by these teams is far greater. And when they have all these dots that they generate, they've got a lot more dots than anybody else. And then when they combine them, they can combine them in new and different ways. And because they combine them in new and different ways, they're usually very unusual or surprises for the corporation, which tends to begin to hire people who look similar and who have the same dots and to connect them in the same way. So this diversity is one of the most powerful things that we offer. One team is good, 5 teams are better, 5 teams competing with each other. My goodness, they run even faster than one team can ever run because they're competing. And then you have a demanding CEO, a demanding client who says, hey, get me the best results. They get great results. And then they got coaching from consultants to make sure these teams are producing outputs at the level of a McKinsey or a BCG.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dr. Patel.
That's great. Thank you very much for having me. And, go out there and remember, open innovation works. You got to be thoughtful and careful. And there are bright people out there. And if you're not using them, and if your competitor is, your competitor will win. You need to build your ecosystem of the best partners inside and outside the company. Good luck and best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Hitendra Patel and Fernando Onosaki. What a great knowledge exchange. But it's not over yet. We will soon have other inspiring conversations in Festival Inova Klabin em Casa.